Okay guys, welcome to this week's Inner Circle call. Today is a hot seat. Now you know I absolutely love hot seats. Why? Because hot seats are one of our members doing something really cool inside the Inner Circle. So they're taking a strategy or strategies and doing really cool stuff with it. So as you know, some of the so we did a hot seat last month and the month before, how Dan went from 0 to 70k a month in the first few months. We've got a hot seat next month with Brant, did his first Maven webinar and pulled in, I think, what he said, 300k, and he's still growing all the time. I think he's just done his second one. So we do a hot seat every month, and we'll actually probably increase the frequency of these depending on the strategy. So we're starting to work to themes now. So each month we'll be moving into a theme. This month's hot seat with Keith, I actually struggle with to come out for the actual title, and I need some direction from Keith. And the reason why is because he's done a couple of things really well, but the impact has been multiple times. So as you can see, how Keith is using Inner Circle strategies would give 100% inbound client candidate flow, which allows increasing of rates. Keith to work 3.5 days per week, is now able to turn away paying the buck clients and much more. So the longest title we've ever had as a hot seat, but there's an awful lot going on. So let's get into the session for this week. Now, as always, the reason why I actually found out what Keith was doing was because what I'm asking you now about the wins he's had, the lessons he had, he typed into the chat box. So exactly what I'm asking you to do now, Keith did this. He typed in the chat box, and I'm going to share with you what he typed in the chat box, in fact his emails, in a second. So as always, tell me, in the last 7 to 14 days, what's been your big win? And from that, so each time I ask this doesn't just sit there dead. We take screenshots, it goes into your folder. So this is used, it's used for moving forward. So what's been your win in the last 7 to 14 days? Capital W, what's been your win, your big win in the business? Capital W, your big win. Then what can we do to scale it? So Keith, he typed in the chat box about winning, and then Keith and I had a conversation about, right, this is working, how can we scale up the data side of things? So where Keith is today, it came from following a set of steps, but also participating and being really cool at this sort of thing. So this isn't just woo-woo. What's been your win the last 7 to 14 days? John, my apologies. I thought I responded to that. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Rachel, outstanding. So what's that actually going to be worth to you then in terms of fees? What's the actual outcome of that? Johnny, personal win for the week. Charlotte just slept through for the first time from 10:30 through to 6:30. Happy days. I feel you. Ricker's crashing on a 90-day sprint task. Now, Ricker's a new member joined us about a month ago. I'm expecting big things from Ricker. I'm averaging 50 new contacts connections on LinkedIn every single day, Elizabeth. All our candidate campaigns running on RRR, entering 1 month. Awesome. Getting great candidates and getting new job orders from LinkedIn. Elizabeth, that's using LinkedIn campaigns, I assume. Rachel, going to be coming to the RRR now. In fact, let's do this. Let's get into, because lots of you are mentioning the RRR. So let's actually get into this, but very quick one. Type in the chat box. Last 2 weeks, capital L, what lesson, what have you been through? And it's like, you know, that hasn't worked out quite so well, or I feel like I need to be making more rapid progress, or what could it be? Capital L, put in the chat box, I'm going to come back to those. So let's get into today's session with Keith. So Keith runs Human Omics, and the first time I saw that name, it was a right mouthful for myself. Being someone who's dyslexic, for me, I just read all these crazy things going through my head. But this is Keith. So there he is, top right-hand side. This is his company. Now, the reason why Keith's on today's call, you can see here, this was, well, Keith can share it in a minute. He sent me an email saying, I just ran this campaign, Andy, RRR. I've got 483 candidates. And as you can see, I wrote back to him and said, am I reading that right? 483 new candidates. And I thought he must have done a spell mistake or something. Anyway, yes, and a standard 483. So, of course, I'm thinking, pretty cool stuff, Keith. Now, just to put in context, before this, we had a conversation about how to scale. So he's getting conversions starting to work. Then we had a conversation about increasing the data set. So by memory, it was 4 data sets that we looked to put together, 4 different streams, which we'll come to in a second. Now, as you see here, so this is using just one strategy. This is RRR. If you look at this, clients, he's got 66% open rate, 148% inbound messages from clients, 897 from candidates. Almost too much to be dealing with. Now, this is what I asked Keith to send me through now. He's going to be sharing this in detail. So this was, well, what's this, 12 days ago. Keith, just send me, what have been the big wins, big lessons that we can share with the group around, what you believe in the hot seat. So you can see here, from the very first campaign, you've got the figures there, the client figures, and you've got the candidate figures. The very first campaign, 2 new clients, 483 new candidates. He's got a new account manager. He's building a remote team. He's got a signature system in place. That's step 4, part 4, but actually look at number 2. We've got 4 new highbrow clients in the sector that have live roles and currently have interviews with. Now, the thing I like about Keith, he's able to now push away clients. He's able to push them away. But really, the reason why Keith's on the call today, he said himself, when we first spoke, let's get you earning more, but having more time off the business. Now, lots of you say to me, Andy, if you can give me a day a week, 2 days a week, I'm going to work that day, 2 days a week, and add 20, 40% to my business. Keith's actually taken off 1.5 days a week now. So he's got Mondays off and Friday afternoons off, spend time with his wife. Now, last week, I remember that for me, I thought it would be a really good theme, given what had been happening in the background, about actually enjoying life. Don't get completely lost in your business. Yes, get the wheel moving, but when you do, let's get systems in place to do the hard work. Again, we've got some more metrics here as Keith go through. So this is last campaign. 65% open, 308 replies from clients, 314 for candidates. This is more business than you can probably handle. So he's now building the remote team in the background to deal with this, which we're going to come to. And moving on again, lessons. This is important. The greatest mistake, this is all from Keith, and Keith's going to share this in a second. Don't waste time. So Keith, I was always be very direct with you. Keith had a conversation with me just before the call. He said, right, I'm sure you want to give me a few pointers for the hot seat. No, Keith, everything we do is completely, we just go through the process. It's completely, it's warts and all. We say as it is. We're going to go through the case study builder process, but we're going to be completely honest with each other and with the group. Now, Keith, I think, will be very honest up front and say when he first came to the group, maybe he dabbled a little bit, which I'll come to in a second. But then he got into the mindset of just getting on with it. And I love what he's put there. The greatest mistake you can make in life is to be continue fearing you will make one. But it's lessons. Don't waste time. Know your avatar. We've gone about this all the time. Now, the third one I love. Implement, test, scale. Implement, test, scale. So we've got 2 phases inside the inner circle. Improve conversions, scale the living backside out of it. And that's how companies have gone from, going back years now when we talk about the chap Kenny went from 8,000 to 100K a month. Exactly that process. Same for all of you. If you're spinning dozens of plates, wrong, wrong, wrong. We want to be working to 90-day sprints. You will get results. So we'll come to Keith's next steps in a minute. So as we go through, I want you to be writing down what you notice. What questions have you got for Keith? And we're going to be going through these. Now, the reason why I got Keith on the call, and lots of you might be going, well, Andy, I've got figures like that. I've got figures which are as good as that, and you may well have, which is awesome. But for me, it's a lesson from transformation. So when Keith first joined us, we, I think, Keith, you say yourself, could have perhaps moved forward a bit quicker. And that's just a mindset thing. But the lessons here and why Keith is on it today is, number 1, don't dabble. Don't wait to be perfect. Get started. Get started. Number 2, the process works every single time. Every single time. The gentleman we asked to leave the inner circle a month ago, he wouldn't use our templates. It's there for him. It's there for him. And if you come back to me and you use any strategy, you say, Andy, it's not working. It's just not working. I'll personally work with you one-on-one to make sure it does work. So to say that again, if you ever go through a strategy and it's not working, so for example, you're using LinkedIn or you're using RRR, using a content cannon or whatever it might be, and it's not working, you come to me. Andy, I'm using this, it's not working. The reason why we set up the data mapping navigator training last month before, is because Elizabeth, she's got a big database, didn't know how to map it, we didn't know what to do with it. So each time you've got a problem, we create a new strategy. And these strategies are developed because of the problems you've got. But the process works every single time. RRR works every single time. There's only 4 points of failure. The data set, the open, the reply, then what you do from that point on the telephone. Now, if you do it properly and you combine that with positioning strategy, you'll be turning away clients. You will choose who you work for. I can't remember who said on last week's call. I don't know if it's Johnny saying about, didn't even mention, he said what the price was. I think it was you, Johnny. Whoever it was, the client didn't even in bulk. They've come to you. Keith raised his prices. He won't work for less than 20%. He doubled his prices, I think, in the first 6 weeks of being with us. So Keith, just do it. Just do it. The systems and the positioning will get you paid. But just go through the process. Trust the process. So if any of you are still got paralysis by analysis, drop that. Just go for the process. And the reason why Keith is on is because that transformation from maybe overthinking a little bit, just get on with it. Number 3, use systems. Have time off or, yeah, scale it even more. Up to you. We work to 90-day sprints, but say my model now is the following. You know this. I'm looking for long-term partners with you all now. I'm looking for you to get to your first 200 grand, 500 grand. Some of you have come at that point. I want you to be with us for years. Our levels of delivery and love and support for you guys are only going to increase because I want you around for ages. We don't want to be dabbling in and out. We don't want that. I know what my business model is. So we think long-term as well as quick wins for you. And that's why we're setting up a 90-day sprints for you to make it even more easy to follow. And number 5, use the remote team building process. That's where the scale is going to come. Keith's now got 1.5 days off a week, earning more money because he's applying 2 things. Just a minimal piece of automation, just a minimal piece, but also he's thinking about the bigger picture here. Systems that drive the remote team. So these are the 5 reasons. Now, you might be able to relate to some of this. So what I'm going to do is unmute Keith. Normally with a case study, for those of you who are new, you can find it inside the members area. You know the way the case study builder works. We focus on the person to start with. So we focus on where they were to begin. We focus on their problems, their starting point. What I want to do today with Keith is, first of all, I have an overview of Keith. Then I want him to go through, because when we started adding up all the things he'd done, I was like, I actually forgot you doubled your fees. I forgot you did this. So the very first thing we're going to do this a little bit differently today. The very first thing we'll do, Keith can give us a background about himself. Then where he is now, so the 5 to 10 wins that he's got, so where he's going to share it with us. And then what we're going to do is backtrack and go through where he was. So we're going to do things a little bit differently. So the first 5 to 10 minutes, we're going to get straight into his wins because we've got so many. And the reason why we're doing that is I want you to be asking questions about the particular wins that he's got. So for example, how do you double your fees? How do you have the ability to just double your fees overnight? So I want you to start off with the wins, and I want you to be asking the questions from that point through. So what I'm going to do is 2 things. Number 1, I'm going to unmute the man himself. So Keith, are you there? Cool. So
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Let's do this. Let's just type in the chat box. Everybody, so Keith, just give us a tell us about where you've been on holiday last year, where you're going next year. Just give us 20 seconds about your favorite holiday destinations or wherever it might be.
Okay, those of you who know me will know this anyway. Ibiza, always. It's kind of my staple diet since I was 18 years old, which is now 30 years ago. And Ibiza is where I kind of rest my head peacefully.
I bet it's not so peaceful. Cool, so everyone, could you just make sure everyone's good on their side? Can you hear Keith?
Yeah, I can hear.
Let's make sure everyone can hear you. Yeah, everyone can hear Keith. So let's do this then. So as I said, let's first of all just do a quick overview of, right, who's Keith?
Cool.
Yep. So just a bit of background on yourself, your business, how long it's been going, who your client is, who your candidate is, and then we're going to get into the wins, then we're going to go through the actual process, okay?
Okay, a very brief synopsis of my history. I've been in recruitment now for 23 years, 48 now. I started off in, as some of you may know, I think Barry's on the call, in S3. I was in the progressive brand of S3. I was number 7 into the company back in 93, and then when I left and we'd floated, there was about 2,000 on the progressive brand alone, consultants. And I guess part of that, I was to blame for a large part of the training of those 2,000 consultants to be cold callers. So the recruitment industry that was that cold calling, outbound, hit the phones, smash and grab kind of atmosphere.
Got it.
I changed that for myself when we floated. I took kind of semi-retirement. That was in 2008. I made some silly financial decisions and kind of lost everything. And then back in 2010, I was like, oh, God, this is a nightmare. I'm going to start again. Rolled up my sleeves, thought, what do I want to do? What kind of environment do I work in? And one thing was for sure for me was it wasn't going to be what I'd done before. And that was boring, and I found it disinteresting. So I came up with what is now humanomics, and it is a mouthful, you're right. and, and with humanomics, it was what atmosphere do I want to work in? Progressive and S3 is kind of the typical recruitment, suits, city atmosphere. You know, you get in at 7 a.m., you finish at 8 p.m., and it's all on KPIs. I didn't want that this time round. So now it's jeans and t-shirts, and I wanted to get the avatar that matched that. And that avatar seems to me to be the media industry. So I now work in the media sector for digital agencies. We do account managers, account directors, or any level of the sales cycle as well. And as I say, it just suits my mentality now. Not a couple, we're going to go on to it shortly, Andy, about the time that I have off now, but it just kind of suits that as well. These guys don't work the full hours, and neither do I anymore.
Awesome. So Keith's background then, from well, we hate it, don't we? The cold calling side, and all the icky stuff that makes me shiver. Where he is now, gone full circle, building up from the bottom up again. Notice he's got a very clear indication of how he wants to work, which I think is awesome. When I first termed his the session today, I was going to call it the laptop lifestyle, but that's putting words into your mouth. And when I set up my business, I want a laptop lifestyle. That's what he wanted. But that's where I see you going, based on what you've told me, and being the free spirit Ibiza person you are, that's probably where you're going to be going. So let's do this, and let's just spend just literally 2 or 3 minutes, very quickly, because we're going to go through these in detail. But say I want to do this up front, so those listening can resonate to, well, that win that Keith's got there, or that win he's got there, or that win. So it could be the number, 483 candidates. It could be the time off. It could be just the high level sort of 5 to 10 wins. An increase in rates you mentioned, again, which I forgot about. Let's go through the wins and such like that. And then what we're going to do is backtrack, and then we're going to go through the wins in detail in about 15 minutes, okay?
Okay, no problem. And for me, at the moment, there's 5 big changes.
Okay.
Not least of all, going back to where we first started our original conversation, Andy, which was get paid more, work less. That's been the mantra, and it's all been, everything that we do now is all about that. For me, the wins, the double R campaign, it just works. My ratios at the moment, I think, as high as anyone's, and for any other reason, that I'm just following the system. I'm currently working to about 76% return on candidates, and as of this morning, it was 11% on clients.
Cool.
So that works. That works, for everyone to see. The clients that we got on board just from Double R alone in May was 6 new clients, and it's the caliber of them I think we'll come on to shortly that matters.
Okay.
Already in June, we've got 12 new clients, and in fact, I've had to kind of curb the amount of data set that goes out each day now, so that we can actually deliver to that properly, because it's getting busy.
Yep.
That's the first big win.
Yep.
Second one, which you've highlighted already. I made a decision not to work Mondays. Simple as that. That dreaded Sunday night where you were, it's like, oh God, I'm going to have to go to work again tomorrow. That was just doing my head in. And I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. What do I do to change it? And long and short, take Mondays off. So
cool.
We don't work Mondays anymore.
Yep.
And that allows you more free time, would you believe, for Tuesdays as well. The benefit of that, if I may say, is that when you end up doing something on Mondays, because we've all got smartphones or tablets, and you kind of react to some of the stuff that comes in, and if it's relevant or you want to work on it, you can do. But the good news is with that, you don't really feel that you're working. So any bits of work I do on Mondays doesn't feel like work, and all those little bits that I do kind of take off from Tuesday. So Tuesday's a lighter day as well. So if none of you have geared this up into your calendar right now, it's the biggest thing I could advise is take Mondays off. It's just a winner. You talked about fees. We doubled our fees. It was a combination of doing a minimum of 20% for everyone now, and if clients don't like that, then that's fine. We're not the agency for them. There are other agencies that can work less than that. But the main reason why that went up was because we're also choosing to work on a different level of candidate as well. So the candidates we look at tend to be 50 grand plus. So each time we get in a fee in now, what was an average fee of around 6,000, it's now over 10,000 each time. Cool. So that was another win, and that was just a mindset shift.
Yep.
that mindset shift came from having the knowledge that those double R campaigns are working, so we can be, cherry pick, if you like, what we actually want to work with. Fourth big win, I don't have any staff anymore. I know it sounds bizarre. They're all on 0-hour contracts. They all work from home. They all work remotely. They're all on commission only. And that just gives me so much free time to just make sure that the other systems that we're working on are getting developed and working. And they bring in, well, to me, it's on average, it's 5K a deal. So in my mind, I just need 10 of those, and I've got 50 grand a month coming in. So that's where I'm going at. I've currently got 3 of those as we sit.
Cool.
And because of that, as of just this month, I've closed the office. I've no longer got an office to go to. I can work completely off my tablet, and yeah, and that's that. So that started from June. So we've no reason for an office, so we don't have it, and that gives us free time, and I can work from home. And as we sit now, I'm actually on my balcony in my apartment in Manchester because it's not raining for a change, and I'm just sat on the balcony doing this now.
Awesome. So it's 5 wins there, guys. Number 1, just to recap, actually getting double R working, which is a key strategy. Number 2, Mondays off. Number 3, doubled his fees. And I remember our exact conversation. I remember having a conversation with you, Keith, around that. Number 4, no staff. Now I've got a remote team. And number 5, closed down the office and that dreaded Monday going to the office and all the pain that goes with that. So those are Keith's 5 wins. So let's do this, guys. As we go through, so out of those 5, start jotting your questions down for Keith, and we're going to go into those in a second. And I'll pause as we move through, and then we'll go through the questions you got for Keith, okay? And we'll go through those in detail. So start typing those away. Now, let's go back to where we were, okay? So we're using a framework which is inside the Inner Circle members. So all you guys have seen you go to content delivery shortcuts. So we're actually using a framework here that you yourself will be using with clients, with candidates, to ensure you get the right information you need to seed with clients and candidates. But we're going to go through inside in a fairly relaxed way, so we're inside the Inner Circle. So first off then, we know who you are. We know who the person is. We've gone through yourself and your world. Let's go back to the first problem you had then. So, where were you? So when you and I first spoke, you came to me for a reason. So what was the sort of key problem you had, or was there 4 key problems or 3 key problems, or would you not just go freestyle? Where were you? What was the key problem you had?
Absolutely. Yeah, for me, Andy, it was not wanting to do recruitment. I was on the verge of leaving the industry, and I think if I didn't have stronger friends and family around me, I probably wouldn't be doing this anymore. I wanted to get out of recruitment. It was the dread of going back into it and doing what the old system was the worst thing I could imagine. But as I say, I lost everything, so I had to start again. And I thought there's got to be a better way than this. I had a life coach that I mentioned to you on that short video I did to you, a good guy, and we had some very serious, heartfelt conversations about, well, what do you want then? And I just thought there's a better way of doing recruitment. I just thought there's got to be another way of doing this. And yeah, I was convinced by friends and family just to go back into recruitment because you got 23 years, what some would consider a very successful career, and a lot of knowledge there that you can still use. So it was like, okay, well, where do I go? And thankfully, when you start looking on the internet for different ways to get automated systems, getting systems where I can actually have it, like we say with the Inner Circle, that is systemized and are working for us while we're asleep. That's what I was looking for. And thankfully, we came across you guys, and it was almost a bit. I was so skeptical at first, and for no other reason than the other way clearly works. It does work, the cold calling system works. It's just not for me anymore. And I was looking for something that could be different than that. And when you came to the table, Andy, with your with what the Inner Circle was going to offer, i.e., become the expert in a brand new niche, which was like, okay, fine, I've got to put effort into that. Become an inbound agency from an outbound model. And also to, as you say, go one-to-many, make it work for you to many people while you're asleep. And when you started to describe what you were doing, as I say, I kind of skeptical at first because I was like, yeah, right, I've heard that before. and especially I was still licking my wounds from losing all the money that I'd earned over the last 20 years. I wanted that change, and when I started to understand what you were doing, I suppose, if you know, if maybe so bold, I kind of went into the pillars of what you do, kicking and screaming, still trying to shake off that old methodology and that old model of working in recruitment, and trying to just, you know, get myself to fully accept what we do here. And I'd only say, you know, it took me 6 months to start to really develop the first few pillars. And I think now, as I'm starting to see, well, the double R campaign is certainly my favourite one, because it's unbelievable the figures I'm getting from that.
Yeah, if I may,
know,
can I just jump in there quickly, Keith, because you hit on something really important there, and you said about kicking and screaming, and I put in the notes about dabbling. I'm sure you didn't take offence. I remember we had some conversations, and I said to you about doubling your fees. Just do it, just double them, and then, you know, the systems will give you the leads, etc. So you can only double your fees if you know you've got enough leads coming in, and ideally you've got positioning. So you're doing well with double R. We do need to do the content stuff moving forward though, because otherwise, in months to come, you're going to be you won't have all the positioning that we need. So it's great at the minute, but we need to put the other context around it. We know that's going to come. But the key thing for all of you. So some of you might relate to this. We've got members. James on the call. James Blackwell. James sent me an email. I think the very first day with us, James, or second day with us, you got this up and running. You said, I got a new client in straight away. Then we have other members, not so much now, but used to when we were not so cool at filtering and we had a less stringent process, who would be dabbling and 2 months in, 3 months in, and still trying to get their website perfect, or still thinking about, should I change the telephone number, or crazy things. Can't stress this enough. Get that monkey off your back. Just get it up and running. The phrase I've used before inside the inner circle going back years, there's a famous copywriter called John Carton, and he said, if you put a gun to your head, you have to get $20,000 or your family got shot, you're going to find a way of doing it. And you need to have that mentality. And the reason why Keith's on the call today is what you said there, kicking and screaming. So if you are in that position, please drop it. If you've got any questions around how to get out of that, if you think that issue, type them in the chat box. But it's really important that you do break through that. How do you think so first of all, before we get into the hows of, so that you hated recruitment, you were looking for something to work while you were asleep. So what was, you know, at the time, the impact of that then? So this was going on, you didn't want to get back into recruitment, but you were, you know, looking at potentially doing something else. What was the actual impact of that time for you then? Yeah,
absolutely. That time, miserable, you know, trying everything to not do this job. And from my perspective, it was like, if something doesn't happen soon, as I say, I was going to leave the industry, and that was it. And all that 23 years of experience would have been wasted. So it was just, you know, it wasn't luck, it wasn't chance. It was through a bit of soul searching, some strong conversations with myself as well as with close friends and family. And then out of nowhere, Andy, the oasis was in the circle. You kind of you know, I don't know how we found each other, is what I would say first of all. But I know within a matter of months, your name came up, and when I started to start the first communication, it was like, okay, well, if this guy can do this, I'm going to go into it. And as I say, the first few months, I was kind of a hard person to change their mind, and it's only now that I'm kicking myself for not doing those things sooner. And it's given me the impetus to want to start the other pillars now and get those up and running as fast as possible. Yeah, absolutely. And the reason why I want double R working for all of you is, say, it's a great strategy, and you will get business from it. Every single person who's done it gets clients and candidates. If you don't, come to us. There's only 4 points of failure, and we can identify what it is. The reason why we all of you, in your first 90-day sprint, get it running is so that little monkey on your back and voice in your head says, this stuff sounds like, I've been told, you know, I've heard other people online say use video to get clients, and use the latest, you know, app called Blab and all this other rubbish that's out there. This is an integrated strategy inside the inner circle, but the reason why I want you to use that is so you get results, and then you start to believe in the process. As you take bigger action, then you get bigger results, then you take bigger action, etc., etc. So if you haven't got double R, get up and running. That's absolutely key, guys. So, and again, the reason why we created it is because LinkedIn changed their algorithms and what we could do on LinkedIn. So there's a problem in the industry, so we have to find a way working around it. And that's why lots of you have been with us now for years, because we're always going to work around it. But the key thing is you must get it up and running. You must get it up and running. So
So at the time then, Keith, you were thinking about leaving the industry. You come to the inner circle, and we've gone, right then, let's see where we are, and we've identified what we're looking to achieve. So let's go into what you actually did then, okay, the frameworks as such. So my timeline, if I remember rightly, was, and again, if you might put me differently on this, but from my notes, what we had was a planning session. We had a conversation around fees. We had a conversation around data. And then you and I actually went both, we tested some data, didn't we? And then
we did spatial.
Yeah, and then you started to get into getting these results and, and more time off. But right at the beginning, this bit down here, and again, I'll be direct, it's the best way. I think this down here, there was probably a few months there which we could have greatly speeded up. Would you agree? If we, if you cleared your head, and maybe what would you use, kicking and screaming? If we could remove that, we probably would have got there 2 or 3 months earlier. Would you agree?
You know what it was? It's putting the trust, Andy, in the system, and when that's something you don't know from going in from a model that is 23 years entrenched into your behaviours. It was just having the trust in someone else that this would work. And I'm sure some of these guys on the call now, if you're not careful, you can get a really bad ego in recruitment. You can start thinking that you're the king, and you're just not. You've got to realise that the industry is what it is, and if you work it well, then great, you're going to earn loads of money. But it's not just about that. You've got to be the right guy. And for me, shaking that old model was just virtually impossible. And so those first few months, I was in on these calls and these sessions every Tuesday. But you know what? I wasn't taking it in. I wasn't doing it. I was still believing that the old model would work, and I wasn't really buying myself into this process. And it's only when I started to do that, and as I say, if you saw my inbox now, literally as we speak, I've got 167 new emails in the last 24 hours, of which looks like 40 of them are from clients and 112 or so are from candidates. It's just gone through the roof, and it's my stupidity and my ignorance to have that trust as got to that stage, and it was just stupid. And all I can advise of anybody doing any of these pillars is get one, make it work, and just do not give up on it until you've got it fully automated.
Awesome stuff, and that's a key lesson for you guys. 2 things Keith said there which are really important. Number 1, trust the system. So the reason why we do a hot seat, we're now doing, at the moment we're doing 1 a month. The reason why we're doing these is because we're sharing what people in the group are doing. So we had Dan and Johnny, and next week we got Brant, and then with Dion, and we're going to be doing one of these every single month. So each month, right, how someone else is applying one strategy, so you can get over that mental barrier as such about actually applying it. So that's why we're doing the hot seats. So if you've got any blocks, go back to the hot seats, reach out to that person and so forth. But just go to the hot seats, implement, because you can have all the conversations in the world with people around, oh, what did you do? What do you do? And as Keith just said, I just follow the steps. I think David put in the chat box, which template did you use? It's not about which, Keith might share with us in a second, but the templates all work, David, they all work. If you send a train and test them, so test 2 at a time, split test them. But we'll come to the specifics in a second, but yes, get into implementation. Let the results tell you which ones work specifically to your marketplace, but they're there to be used. And the second lesson is, again, it's about taking that monkey off your back and just getting on with it. So if I joined a program, and I'm in a handful of programs in terms of masterminds and things, I'm very, very, very keen to see what it actually means. So with the masterminds I'm in, they're more about a gathering as opposed to a step-by-step system. And people are way, way, way above me. But seeing how they think is the key thing for me there. But the key thing you've got here is a system, a set of steps. So that first period, this up here, this red block, that was probably 2-3 months where Keith could have been at that point 2 to 3 months earlier. So if you have got any hesitation, the way to get over it isn't to ask more questions to someone who's done it in the group, although you're free to do that. It's to get into implementation and come back to me with the results and say, Andy, we've done this. This is either bombed. I hope that doesn't usually happen, but if it does, we're going to help you fix it. That's what we're there to do. Or we're going to say, right, let's scale the hell out of it. And that's what we did with your data conversation, which we did here. So So let's do this then, Keith. But before moving on, about that timeline, anything else you want to share about the timeline in terms of, joining, where you are now?
Well, no, literally, honestly, it's as straightforward as that. From my perspective, is that I was just wasting time, not doing them, and then it'd be like, I'll wait till next Tuesday, and I'll do the next inner circle session, and then I'll wait again, and I wasn't doing it, and that was my fault, and that is the biggest lesson I can give anyone.
Okay, cool. Thanks for the transparency, guys. Hopefully, some of you can relate to that. You've taken action down to get that monkey off the back. So let's do this then. Let's now talk about what you actually did. So. Two things. Well, first of all, guys, what questions have you got for Keith? Put in the chat box now. Lots of people are saying, "Amen, Keith. We'll love this." Lots of that stuff going on. Okay, all the specific questions I'm going to go through in a second. Well,
just as well, if anyone wants to ask me questions, another time that they don't get a chance to, or they think of something, I just put my email in the chat box there. I'll have to, I'm one of the guys that will help where I can. So
cool stuff.
That's for anyone.
Cool stuff. So thanks for Keith. One thing I want to do more of though is actually share it inside these sessions now. So chance of one of you got a question, the rest of you are thinking exactly the same thing.
Cool.
So let's do this. If we look about what you said, so you increased the fees. You've moved to this process now where you got a remote team. You're taking time off. Let's just go through very quickly. How did you increase the fees? What was the process for that, first of all?
The first part of that was simply refusing to work on lower rent business. So where it was sales, media sales and account managers who tend to be between 20 grand and 30, 35 grand salaries. My business, by the way, is predominantly permanent, just so everyone's aware. I aim to set up a contract business by the end of the year, but for now it's mainly permanent. And the fees between 20 grand salaries rather, were between 20,000 and 35,000. And I just stopped doing that. I started moving on to the higher end business so that my salaries were 40,000 and above. And now the average is about 55, 60. So that alone give me more increase in fees just by that alone from the salary statistics. But also, as you get into the higher bands, you cannot charge higher rates. So we decided 20% full stop, so no more 15%, no more 17 hours, no more 18s, straight 20% as our lowest fee, up to a maximum of 30% we charge, and we don't tend to work on salaries now lower than 50 grand.
Awesome. So that fee raise literally was a conversation we had, wasn't it? It said, just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. It wasn't. I think some of your chat box is going crazy today, which is awesome. I'm sure some of you are saying, well, what was the strategy behind that? It was literally a case, just do it. If you get enough leads coming in, you can choose.
Stop overnight.
Oh yeah, overnight. So guys, if you've got any questions around the fees, type in the chat box. I'm going to come to those in a second. So that was just an overnight decision. I want to focus on these roles. If you've got two things, if you've got enough leads coming in, and if you've got positioning especially, then you can cherry pick your clients and your candidates, and you can pick your fees. Yeah. And I've not gone through a chat box yet, but someone last week said something about, again, I don't know if it's you, Johnny, but someone said about because they're coming to you, when you actually speak to the decision maker, they don't even question the fees. You just say what it is. I can't remember who it was, but let me know who it was and just type in the chat box. So fees then was an overnight decision, and then because we got the leads coming in, that's the primary thing for you at the moment. Positioning we need to work on still, but at the minute it's the leads that are coming in, which is the key thing, which is allowing you to do that.
We can cherry pick now. We can cherry pick the clients, we can cherry pick the roles we work on, and we can really just decide which ones we want to work with, and that's give us the freedom because of the inbound traffic we're getting.
Awesome. So guys, just to recap, just so you get this, so you're not thinking, right, I'm just going to change my fees tomorrow. The reason why is because the number of inbound clients and candidates coming to Keith. So that's the key thing there. It's that flow. That's the key. So fees were increased overnight. Awesome, because we've got the system in place. So let's do that, and let's talk about what we've got here. So
hey there. So what do you think about that then? So the intent of that session was really just to let you understand that there are many companies like you in the same position. It's really just to let you understand that I get where you're at. So there's 5 key 5 key problems you might have there that you can relate to, and if you are, I completely empathise with what you are going through right now. But really what I want you to focus on is the outcome to actually turn that around. So I've given you 5 key indicators and 5 key steps you might be able to move forward with. I've not given you templates, I've not given you the how-to, I've not given you the tools, I've not given you the overarching integrated strategy. It's only a quick video. But what we can do is this, we can jump on an agency growth action plan call, and on that call I will give you the how-to, and I will give you the steps, and I will give you the strategy. So on that call what we can do is this. Before the call I want you to just complete a couple of questions for me, so I've got some context, and then on the call we can do this. If you need clients, I'm going to give you 3 strategies specific to your niche that are going to help you get, not just attract and all that woo-woo, but actually get clients that are going to pay you in the next 30 days. So you actually get clients who are going to pay you. That's inbound clients coming to you saying, Mark, can we speak on Tuesday at 2 o'clock? Rachel, on Thursday, can we speak at 4 o'clock? Nigel, Monday, can we speak at 7 o'clock? So actually clients coming to you. I'm going to show you how to do that. Number 2, if you need candidates, I'm going to give you at least one inbound system, to get candidates. And not just any candidates, but the candidates you need to get paid. So if you're searching on job boards, they're the candidates you cannot place. They're the ones who are open to everyone else in the marketplace. There are those who are actually looking for roles. They're those who have been placed before and have been asked to leave the company. They're not the candidates you want. You want the candidates who are passive, as you know. And the third thing is, whether you're looking for automation, whether you're looking for inbound, whether you're looking for systemization, whether you're looking to scale, go from 100k to 500k, or go from 500k to a million, or whether you're starting up and looking to get to your first 200k, I'm going to give you that momentum. So I'm going to do that on an agency growth action plan. So look below, click the button below, schedule your call. There's just a handful of questions there, literally just a handful. Give me as much information as possible. We're going to get on that call, and then we're going to get into solution mode. So I look forward to speaking to you soon. The places are strictly only for those who are really serious about change. So as you can see, you've only got a handful of appointments there. So click the button below and really think about this. Are you looking to change your business now? Are you looking to really move from the old way of doing things to, I want inbound? Now, if you go to our website, you can go and check out dozens and dozens of case studies and all sorts of cool tools, strategies, webinars, all that cool stuff. But click the button below, schedule that call before they all go. I think we've got 5-6 appointments left, and then we'll go on to that 15-minute call, and it's not at the part. So let's go on the agency growth action plan call, and we'll speak soon. Take care. Bye-bye.